Mexico, there's a tiny creature whose spring awakening is on a truly epic scale. In the forests of the Sierra Madre Mountains, the trees are festooned with monarch butterflies. They've spent the winter asleep, huddled together for warmth. There are millions of them. These trees have been the perfect roost. The branches sheltered them like a blanket, keeping out the freezing nights. On a sunny spring morning, the butterflies begin to stir. When the sun warms their bodies above 13 degrees centigrade, they start to fly. More than 100 million take to the air. It's the biggest gathering of butterflies in the world. They're getting ready for a long and arduous journey. They stream from the colony and make their way to water to drink. Then they bask in the spring sun to get their muscles warmed up for flight. Soon, they'll be off. They're all going in search of one very special plant. And it only flowers in spring. Milkweed. The butterflies won't lay their eggs on any other plant, so they must time their wake-up perfectly for when the milkweed blooms. Generations of butterflies fly nearly 5,000 kilometers to Canada, carefully following the flowering of this one particular plant. It's the greatest insect migration on Earth, and it only starts when the sun wakes them up in spring. On the lakes of North America, one bird's courtship display is unlike any other. Clark's grebes. They've just flown in from the Pacific coast, and here in Oregon is where they'll breed. At this time of year, these sheltered freshwater lakes are the perfect place to raise a family. These two lovebirds paired up last season, but they've spent the winter apart, so they need to get reacquainted. If they stick together as parents, they'll give their chicks the best start in life. They need to prove their mutual devotion. So they dance. They start by copying each other's movements as they preen their feathers. Then, to show he really means it, the male will find a fish and offer it to her as a gift. With eyes only for each other, they reach the climax of their romantic display. Only grebes can do this. No other bird this heavy can run on water. But this display might help them get their breeding cycles in sync. In this wide open space, it's easy to get lost. So for every young coati, the first rule to remember is never lose sight of your mother's tail. They're surrounded by unfamiliar faces, but who's friendly? And who should you avoid? Southern lapwings are good to have around. They follow the coatis, picking up little bugs the family leave behind. In return, they keep an eye out for predators. Armadillos only eat insects. And so do giant anteaters. Nothing to worry about here. But this savanna hawk is watching with a less than friendly interest. The mother makes a dash for the forest to get her pups to safety. But with so many babies, it's hard to check if everyone's made it home. Sure enough, this pup's got left behind. Mistakes like this can be fatal. He knows he must somehow get back to the safety of the forest. Spring is full of perils. And this coati pup just got a little wiser. Round here, it pays to stick with your family. For some animals, pairing up is a much less gentle affair. In the deserts of the Middle East, it's all about strength and endurance. For a male Nubian ibex, courtship is highly competitive. It's late summer. On these barren slopes in eastern Israel, life is tough at the best of times. As the temperatures soar, it's about to get tougher. The females need to give birth in spring, so they must mate soon. And the males know it. For most of the year, these big males live quiet lives. But not now. For weeks, these males will hardly eat. They won't do much at all, except try to beat each other up. The toughest ibex gets all the females. So it's all about the fight. These are young bucks, evenly matched. They can go on like this for an hour or more. But neither of these is going to win. The females only have eyes for this strong, experienced male with his enormous horns. The younger males never had a chance. For now, they can only practice. But eventually, one of them will fight his way to become the next champion male. But in this sweltering place, there are the ultimate desert survivors. These are silver ants, the toughest on Earth. They're built for life in this natural furnace. Their extra long legs raise their bodies off the hot sand, and when they run, they're the fastest ants on Earth. But their secret weapon is their hairy bodies. New science has revealed that these hairs are shaped like tiny prisms, perfectly reflecting the sun and stopping the ants overheating. Being the world's only hairy ant means they can stay busy clearing sand and looking for food in the full glare of the roasting midday sun. They spin round, taking bearings from the sun so they don't get lost in the burning desert. Other insects aren't nearly so tough. This fly has keeled over, and that's what these ants are looking for. It means they can feast on easy victims and stay safe from attack themselves. No other predators could cope with this sort of heat. But even silver ants have their limits. If their bodies go above precisely 53.6 degrees, they will die. They can only stay out in the sun for 10 minutes. And they're running out of time. Some are already expiring. They need to get back underground fast. Just in time. Everyone is sweltering. Even the neighboring elephant seals are throwing wet sand over themselves to cool off. The adult penguins can head off to fish in the refreshing South Atlantic. But the chicks still have their downy winter overcoat. They can lose some heat through their enormous feet, but not enough. These chicks take more than a year to fledge, and it'll be another 2 months before they can swim properly. So they take a tentative dip in a chilly glacier stream. but it's a bit choppy, and it's hard to stay on your feet. So they find an alternative. A muddy pool, just cool enough to be refreshing. Now that was fun. In a Canadian forest, along with the falling leaves, the trees are releasing a seasonal feast. Acorns. For a chipmunk, it's manna from heaven. He's stockpiling acorns for winter, and the quickest way to carry them is cramming as many into his mouth as possible. He can get 6 in at a push. There's no time to waste. Within a couple of weeks, the forest could be under half a metre of snow. He needs to gather at least 100 acorns to see him through the lean months ahead. A chipmunk keeps his store of nuts hidden away in his winter burrow, a metre underground. And for good reason, there are thieves around. As soon as the coast is clear, a light-fingered neighbour takes his chance. With winter coming, pinching someone else's supplies is a serious business. The precious pile is starting to look very thin, and that could mean starvation for the rightful owner. The honest chipmunk is still slogging away gathering acorns, but when he returns, he's in for a shock. There's almost nothing left of the store. Retribution is swift. With the thief scent packing, it's straight back to work. When winter comes, every nut will count. Autumn's abundance will be a lifeline. In a river in southern Alaska, the storms are about to bring in one of autumn's biggest feasts. And on the riverbank, a hungry crowd is gathering. Grizzly bears. If they're going to survive the coming winter, they need to build up their weight by more than half in just a few weeks. It's the wettest time of the year, but all this rain is good news for the bears. It's flooding the rivers, opening the way for millions of fish to start heading their way. Pacific salmon. They've traveled thousands of kilometers at sea, and now they're swimming inland to spawn. They're returning to the very rivers where they were born. And the bears are lining up to meet them. They're gathering at a waterfall. They know that the salmon must pass through this bottleneck in the river. It will be the best fishing for miles around. The biggest males start to fight over the prime spots. The salmon are starting to collect in a whirlpool at the bottom of the falls. With one almighty push, the first fish starts its ascent. It uses its whole body to leap more than 2 meters in the air. And if it's lucky, past the waiting bears. But eventually, the migration hits its peak. There are so many salmon, the bears can hardly miss. A big male bear can catch as many as 30 fish a day. Fat that's essential as they get ready to sleep through the bitter Alaskan winter. Autumn is approaching, and a male Darwin's beetle is looking for a partner. His success will be down to the size of his jaws and how he uses them. He heads off to the forest to start his search. The females will be in the trees, probably feeding somewhere on the trunk. They should be easy enough to find. But when the trees are more than 25 meters tall, it's a long way to climb. There she is. Unfortunately for him, all the other males in the neighborhood are also after her. He has no choice but to fight them off. But it's not just about strength, it's about grappling. He reaches over the rival's head and hooks his enormous jaws under his wing covers. He gets a grip, lifts, and chucks. He climbs onwards. There are other males standing in his way, but nothing will stop him now. They meet at last. She doesn't appear to be totally smitten. But she finally allows him to wrap his great big jaws around her, and they get intimate. But then, he throws her out of the tree. Beetle armor is tough, and luckily, she's just where she needs to be to lay her eggs on the forest floor, among the roots. In Antarctica, the freeze-up has come in spectacular style. In winter, the continent doubles in size. It's now bigger than the USA. The giant lockup causes an urgent problem for one inhabitant: a Weddell seal. As the sea around her freezes, her breathing hole has begun to freeze over too. Without it, she'll suffocate. So she resorts to using her teeth to keep it open. But at least she has a retreat from the icy world above. The sea down here is a constant -2 degrees centigrade. That's over 50 degrees warmer than it is at the surface. And it's been like this for 25 million years. Beneath the layer of ice, this enchanted kingdom is protected from the extreme temperatures above. It's a wonderland of the strange and beautiful. In this safe, stable world, life explodes. But even here, winter cold can crash the party. As temperatures plummet on the surface, it triggers the growth of something sinister. This is a brinicle, supercooled water sinking from above, forming a pillar of ice. For the creatures of the seabed, it's a stealthy finger of death. A river of ice imprisons everything in its path. Even those that think they've beaten the extremes of winter can get caught out. On the Canadian tundra, there's another battle looming. and it's winter's ultimate heavyweight fight. Female caribou are ready to mate. It needs to be now, so their young will be born in early spring. So the massive caribou bulls must compete with each other to father the calves. The younger males watch from the sidelines as the heavyweights eye each other up. Serious fights are rare, but when they happen, they can be very dangerous. But while this old bull has been dealing with a rival, the young bucks have been trying their luck with his female. He must break off his fight and chase them away. The younger males may be lighter on their feet, but his bulk means he can muscle his way past. Another rival steps in with a challenge. But the old bull easily deals with him. As the chase slows down, he can finally impose some order. Now he's shown who's boss, a look is all that's needed. Only when he's sure he's made his point can he claim his female. In a forest in Finland, a black grouse is preparing to put on a show. It's the most important performance of his life. It will determine whether or not he gets to breed. Only one male will get the chance to mate this year, and that male will have all the females. The others will get nothing. With such high stakes, the competition is intense. The females begin to arrive, and the dance-off moves up a gear. More and more males join in. These birds can wait years for an opportunity to mate. Some will never get the chance at all. The females seem to have spotted a potential winner. It's half dance, half handbags at dawn. One last lunge is all he needs to win the bout. It's all over. The loser slips away. The best performer is the strongest male. And that's just what the females are after. His strength will be passed to their chicks, giving them the very best start in life.